Nothing Personal starts in 30 seconds. It's just business. This is Nothing Personal.
Here you go. Here you go.
Caveat emptor. That's the Nothing Personal word of the day. It is Tuesday, May 20th, 2025. Buyer beware. Boy, did we have an opportunity here, Coca. We had an opportunity to talk about Juan Soto leading off a show. And the reason that we have this opportunity is there is such a mess around Juan Soto. Everyone's coming out with stories. Everyone on the radio, it doesn't even matter. He flies a private jet between games. Ridiculous. He's miserable. Whatever. Everyone wants to take a shot at Juan Soto, who's played 2% of games for the Mets that he's contracted to play. Do the math. 29 and 19. He's going to play 2,430 games in theory if he's not hurt, and he stays for 15 years and doesn't opt out after 5 years, which Coca says he won't. He's got a 10-year, $460 million deal in 5 years. Will he opt out? Will he not? We'll discuss it. I thought about adding to the noise around Juan Soto this morning, giving you the view from the front office, telling you what we would be doing. There's a couple things that it's important to note. During the course of a season, there are myriad issues with players, just like with your VP of sales and marketing, just like with your CFO, with your president. It doesn't matter. Think about your work life and your personal life. Tell me over 365 days that you're issueless. Obviously, you're not. Now think about spending an exorbitant amount of time with someone who's not in your family, although that may be better than spending it with someone who is in your family, but just for argument's sake. Pretend that you're thrust into a situation like a baseball clubhouse where you're together 162 days out of 185, but more because of travel. Issues that stem from grumpiness, they stem from being hurt, being lonely, being in a slump, being unhappy with your contract, being jealous of other players, losing games, winning games, fans, tickets, family rooms, food, interpersonal relationships, cliques in the clubhouse, relationships with the hitting coach, the pitching coach, the manager, the front office. It's everywhere all the time. When we say we do due diligence about free agent signings, we don't. We say we call other teams, hey, tell me about Juan Soto. What was it like having him in the clubhouse? The Mets never made those calls. When you have a chance to sign a player, it's your baseball people who've said to you, this is a player who will add to our existing team that will put us in a better position to win more games to make the playoffs. The baseball people speak to the owner. Sometimes the owner brings up names to the baseball people, and the baseball people have to decide, do we fight this? Do we not fight it? Do we try to sign him? Do we not? If Juan Soto had a set salary and it was $10 million a year, it's not that the Mets and Yankees would be the only teams bidding for Soto. 30 teams, not even a question. Even though there were issues with the Nationals, issues with the Padres, even though there are alleged issues with the Mets that he's not happy, doesn't even matter. Because we don't actually care in the front office about a player's happiness. We don't say, oh, look, we play at the old Oakland Coliseum. It's terrible. or we play at the greatest ballpark in the land, or you're a Yankee, or you're a Dodger. It doesn't matter. When you're negotiating with the player and they say, we want to tour the facility, it's not true. If you overpay a player, God, I've signed 3 free agents off the top of my head. Saltalamacchia, John Buck, Heath Bell. They never toured anything. They never spoke to anyone. They could have given a rat's pituitary gland. Mark Burley, guarantee the extra year. Boom, I'm a Marlin. It doesn't mean that I have anything against those players. It's totally their right. And no player can get overpaid because we're the ones who offer the money. They can't decide for themselves what the offer will be. They can pretend they do if you're a client of Boras, but it doesn't actually work. Every bad contract, while I like to blame Scotty Boy for being disingenuous, which he is, obviously, not one contract that a Boras client has signed is the fault of Boras or the client. It's always the fault of the team. Every bad contract. When Juan Soto signs for 15 years, $765 million, here's what you're going to get over 15 years. You're going to get every single moment. You're going to get the highest highs, the lowest lows, and everything in between. You're going to get the shimmy, the shake, the walks, the hits, the home runs, the RBIs, the grumpiness, the anger, the not running out balls to first base, not running out balls off the wall at Fenway, not running out ground balls to second base. You're going to get it all. You're going to get teammates who love them, teammates who can't stand them. You're going to get seasons where you're going to win a World Series and seasons when you're not going to perform at all. Think about any long-term relationship. They're all the same. Some people can stick it out. Some people can't. The people who can't stick it out, hey, the grass is greener. Let me find some new grass. Holy crikeys, this grass is totally brown. Or, wow, I can't believe how great the grass is that I'm now eating. Everybody knows when you sign a player to that sort of deal, what comes with it. Why now? Why now? Why have Carl Ravitch talk about the fact that Juan Soto's flying a private plane? Let me just stop that and tell you, no. Why have Michael Kay come out and talk about that Soto is whatever the word he used for him, that the Mets could deny publicly, but he's glum in the clubhouse? 18 years, Coke, I've never counted the number of players. I could go and count the team photos and count the number of different players. 25 times 18, that's if you turn over your entire roster, so that's not the math. Glum players, every day. I've told you my great glum story, haven't I? The World Series, Luis Castillo, one of my top 5 favorite players of all time who I had. Not the Luis Castillo on the Mariners. Mets fans may remember him. Marlins fans remember him. We won a World Series game at Yankee Stadium, game 1. And Juan Soto and Luis Castillo was in the clubhouse, head in his hands. We go up to him and say, Luis, what's going on, Papi? Like, what's wrong? Everything's great. And he said, Papi, bad game, bad game. I think it was game 1. He said, no, team won. Good game. He was so glum in the clubhouse because he wanted to perform so well. He wanted to help the team. There are players who are glum because they've had a bad day at home. They're fighting with their wives. They're upset with their kids. They're upset with their contract. How many people listening to this show have gone through your career without a glum day? For crying out loud, Coke and I, between the two of us, one of us is glum every single day. 1,280 shows, plus all the sit-downs and mailbags, special episodes. It's a non-story. The story, however, is what you expect from your players, whether they're making the minimum or whether they're making $51 million while Soto's making $61 million this year in a front-loaded deal before he can opt out. The video of him not running out balls, it's what makes you crazy. The video of thinking you hit a home run and all of a sudden you're on first base. The video of thinking you flew out to right field and then the ball gets dropped and you're only on first base. Every team has had a player who's done it. It's how you deal with the player that matters. Listen to what Carlos Mendoza, the manager of the Mets, said about Juan Soto. And then Coca clipped in what Soto said about whether or not he hustles. Listen to this tape.
To him about it. Tonight, obviously, someone gets a hold of Juan and knows when he gets it, he's Juan, you know. And he thought he had it, you know, but with the win and all that. And in this ballpark, or you know, anywhere, but in particular in this one, with that wall right there, you got to get out of the box. So, yeah, we'll discuss that.
Last couple of nights, you've had a couple of plays where you were slow getting out of the box. Is that something you have to be more aware of?
No. I think been hustling very hard. If you see it today, you could tell.
For those of you who are listening to this, thank you. What you didn't see is Juan Soto looking damn glum. And what you heard was Carlos Mendoza not understanding the talking points. When you've got a situation with your star player, there are meetings that happen after a game with the manager to talk about what the talking points will be. For Carlos Mendoza, it's very simple. It's not about Fenway Park. What Mendoza was saying is, oh, in Fenway Park, you've got the wind, you've got the green monster, you've got to run, and then realize, well, no, it's every ballpark you have to run. Carlos Mendoza is saying Juan is Juan. Juan knows, and then realize, wait a minute, we don't say that about players. We don't differentiate and say, if you know, you know, you know, go ahead and jog right out of the box. Your players are taught you run out of the box. If it's a home run, you can slow down. Even players who say, David, I got it. I knew that it was out the minute it left my bat. The sound was perfect. The trajectory, the exit velocity, players don't talk that way. But the launch angle, players don't talk that way either. But I got it. We always asked our players to pimp between first and second base. They never listened, but we tried. Boy, did I try individually. We tried as a team. Run out of the box whenever you hit a home run. If you want, carry your bat. It's not against the rules. Carry your bat to first base, round first base, or stand on first base. Here's another little nugget. We never taught our players on a fly ball to run past first base. Because if a ball gets dropped, it's dropped, and you're between first and second, you're going to get thrown out running to second. Go get first base. On a home run, go to first base, command the bag. If the ball's out, keep going. If the ball's not out, you're on first base. If you think that you can get to second, run your kishkas off to get to second base. But what we would say to the players is, you want to pimp the home run, get to first base, then do it. None of them ever listen. It's not against the rules. You can carry your bat all the way around. You can go full Serrano. It's not a big deal. But the players like doing it right out of the box as though somehow the camera's on them more, which we would talk about. The camera's on you the whole time. We can talk to our broadcasting partner and make sure that we are focused on you as you run to first base instead of going to the fans who catch it, instead of going to the pitcher and what he looks like, or the catcher getting a new ball from the umpire. We will keep the cameras on you live and wait for you to do your thing. You know, all the handshakes the players do and all the stuff in the dugout, they know that it's being filmed. They know it's a thing. The players know. They're performers, and I love them for that. The situation with Juan Soto doesn't require a talking to by Carlos Mendoza. The situation with Juan Soto requires Juan Soto to not be Juan Soto, and Juan Soto will always be Juan Soto. What'd you think? All of a sudden, by signing him, the Mets would become the better team in New York? Did you think that the Mets would take over like the Clippers have tried to but never will in LA? Or the White Sox have tried to and never will in Chicago? Or the Mets have tried to and never will in New York? I don't care what Steve Cohen does. There is nothing, I'm sorry, Coca, there's nothing the Mets can do. There's not one player they can sign or 10 players where the Mets will become the Yankees. And that is their goal. It's Steve Ballmer's goal as well. It's been Jerry Reinsdorf's goal as well, constantly. Do you know how the conversation goes with players who don't hustle? You walk up to the player after the game. If you win, if you lose, you wait till the next day. If you win, you go into the clubhouse and say, dude, what was that? And they will say the same thing invariably every time. Yeah, I got it. I know. I mean, David, I got that one. Well, you didn't. It hit the wall. David, I'm telling you, I got it. It was a fly out to right field. David, I got it. It was a ground ball. Ground balls get booted every Mungadunishtik. Why wouldn't you just run? You're killing me, Smalls. Players don't change. We feel like we have to check the box that we go talk to them. Mendoza's checking the box. It's a very funny conversation. He goes up to Soto. He doesn't even call him in his office. No chance, toilet pants. He goes to Soto at his locker. If he's smart, he gets him in the food room, maybe even in the shower. Some of our best work is done in the shower. Hey, you want more soap? Can you run a ball out, for crying out loud? Done it. It sounded weird than it actually was. Odds of Soto changing? 0.0. 0.0 is not just the odds of Juan Soto changing the way he plays. There's also 0.0 percentage chance that all of you will agree with what I'm about to say about this next situation. So I'm going to take a breath and ask you just to listen. Though I'm not going to ask you to agree, I'm going to ask you to make your own decision about what's happening in the WNBA with Clark and Angel Reese and the rivalry. I don't even know why it's a rivalry. I guess it started as a rivalry when they were drafted in the same year, when the WNBA wanted them to be Magic and Bird. I guess one had to be black and one had to be white. That was important. The difference is when Caitlin Clark came out of school, she was in a far different position than Bird or Magic. Bird and Magic were great in college. They were coming off an NCAA title game where Michigan State played Indiana State, actually. And then they got drafted. The times were very similar, though. The NBA needed saving when Magic and Bird joined the league. They were coming off a decade of scandal. The kind you snort and the kind that involves betting. David Stern at the time was desperate as commissioner. Although now I'm thinking, was David Stern commissioner in 79? Maybe not. Could it have been Larry O'Brien? Wow. Coco will check that. He'll do a little fact check. But the commissioner, I think it was Stern, was desperate to increase the value of teams, to get more corporate America supporting basketball. Remember, there's a through line to why he was so upset with Malice at the Palace. He did not want anything. He did not want there to be an association of the NBA as not accessible to rich white people. Larry O'Brien was the commissioner. He was commissioner until 84. Thank you, Coca. That's a good find in the middle of a show. So here's where I stand. Caitlin Clark came into the league way more popular, driving way more revenue than Bird and Magic ever did in the beginning. The thing is that when she joined the league, the WNBA, they were fighting for their broadcasting lives, trying to get a larger piece of the broadcast pie that the NBA negotiated, trying to get values of the franchise to increase, trying to be relevant, trying to stop losing money. And they viewed Caitlin Clark as the on-ramp to all of those conclusory statements. If she's in our league, we will definitionally be a healthier league. But then they decided to make it even better. We need to bring in a foil. We need someone to play the villain. I'm very familiar with this part that people play, being asked to play it, actually playing it. There is a huge business that has been grown on villains. You may know it as wrestling. The reason that villains matter, if you go back to movies and you go back to how people spend their money, they love as much rooting against someone as they love rooting for someone. And if you have a rivalry between two players who are totally different, you will get half the players loving, half 4869. You will get half the audience loving and half the audience hating. You will get 100% passion, emotion, and dollars spent and value created. You have to find someone who is not liked. You remember that Caitlin Clark has been pilloried. It's not like she is Cinderella. That's another bad example. I don't think Cinderella was loved, right? She was hated by the stepmother. Just picture someone who you think is universally loved. It's not Caitlin Clark. Angel Reese is the same. She has people who are her detractors, people who are her proponents. They are the perfect yin and yang. The WNBA brass, the NBA owners, when they see that all people are talking about right now is the investigation into hateful comments toward Angel Reese, there's no room for this sort of racism. The Chicago Sky had a statement. The WNBA had a statement. Everyone's got something to say. Caitlin Clark got a flagrant foul. Angel Reese started it. Clark finished it. Clark started it. Reese finished it. It doesn't matter. The script, and I don't mean the script of the season like the NFL. People allege that. I'm talking about the script for success. Means that you've got to find people who can be universally loved and hated because it means there's engagement. Caitlin Clark's statement about what happened against Angel Reese was extremely purposeful. Her telling you there's no place for that in our game, talking about the comments, the hateful comments by a fan, the racist comments. There's no place for that in society. She's saying that purposefully. She may believe it, but it doesn't even matter. Her role in this is to take it as far as you can take it as the hero and as the villain, but removing any sort of third rail issue that creates people wanting to distance themselves from the product, people wanting to turn the flow of funds off. It doesn't matter whether you're woke, not woke, whether you've gotten rid of DEI, whether you have kept it, but you've called it a different name because you're worried about the president. None of that matters. What is universal is that no organization, no matter how much they need or get from the president and Washington, no corporation is going to come out and support racism or racist comments, no matter how racist they may be or how much they agree with the racist comments. You don't come out and say it because it's bad for business. So having Clark come out against, having the WNBA saying they're investigating the allegations of hateful fan comments. Why? Because they have to make it clear that even the villains have certain protections. The villains need to know. Think about this. Go back to wrestling. Can you imagine if there were better healthcare benefits for the heroes and the villains were just left to bleed on their own and couldn't get their bodies taken care of? Can you imagine if the villains in wrestling were paid at a different scale than the heroes when they're equally as responsible for the revenue and the eyeballs? Once you're on level playing field rate comp, it allows you to be differentiated on different levels, which allows for the hero-villain story to be told, which allows for what the WNBA is going through. Here's the problem, and here's where you're going to disagree. The WNBA is making a big mistake. Putting their hands and in the pocket of Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark and riding that the way they're riding it. The difference with Magic and Bird is Magic and Bird were ready, willing, and able to take on that role. I've seen no indication. Caitlin Clark is great with fans. She's signed. She's amenable to things and appearances. Angel Reese is great, fine, signs, no problem. But it's a whole different story when there is a corporate initiative that you have to bring home with you. The rest of us have corporate initiatives, and it doesn't leave work. When you are Clark and Reese, it is a 24-hour. You can never escape it. The price of fame? Maybe, except they're not collecting it on the court. The price of being a hero or a villain? Both sides need to know what part, how they're going to play it, and be hand in hand. It doesn't feel like that's where Reese and Clark are. Magic and Bird fought on the court only. Magic and Bird had unbelievable respect for each other always, almost in awe of the other person's talent. If you ask Caitlin Clark and many other people around the WNBA, they'd say Angel Reese, not good enough. Not a good enough player to play the villain or hero. You have to be the quality of Magic and Bird. The WNBA, however, made their bed because the WNBA is not ripe enough for this sort of behavior. They're not in a position of a league where they can actually capture the benefit of this hero-villain story. They try with ancillary announcements. They try by saying, hey, the women are taken care of. They try by saying that we have in the new CBA, we're going to negotiate and there's going to be changes. But none of that is what the WNBA needs to be doing. In order for the WNBA to actually be a league that matters, they have to be a league that matters. By distracting people into these shenanigans, you're missing the whole first part about a league that mattered and then fell off track, and you're trying to get a league back on track. The WNBA is not trying to get back on track. They're trying to find a track. They've never had a track before. You can't get back to greatness if you've never been great. You can't make strategic decisions to become great if you have no floor plan, if you have no frame of reference. The WNBPA is the players' union for the women, and they are in real trouble because they are telling players that we are going to outmaneuver the WNBA teams and the owners. We are going to get pay that'll be unrivaled to anything these women have seen. They're missing a very important point. The money that they think is there is not there because the NBA team owners involved in WNBA teams are taking the additional allocations and they're trying to make good on the investments that they made in the WNBA that have been losing year after year after year. And you've heard Adam Silver talk about it. You've heard him say, overnight success, forget it. We've gotten crushed. It has been 1 year of losing after another. Owners don't like that. They don't write it off. They don't want it. The WNBA needs to get fixed, and the players' union fighting with the league about player benefits, player salary, players saying we're willing to walk off the job, we're willing to miss time. Maybe they need to speak to their NBA brethren and realize that that threat doesn't work with owners of a league that is fledgling. And make no mistake, the WNBA is fledgling. They have a great bump with Caitlin Clark. They're trying to maximize the bump with a rivalry with Angel Reese. But the bump the WNBA has is from such a low place that the bump that seems so significant puts them in a place that's fine. It's okay. It's definitely not epic. How do I think this ends? This ends with the realization by players that they are not going to get what they want. This ends with the WNBA and the Players Association negotiating and covering up the negotiating gap that exists by talking about diversity and equity and inclusion, talking about prosperity and not living it. That's a famous one. People who live off credit card debt, they talk about how rich they are, but they're not. It's the quiet ones that you have to watch out for. I'm excited to keep following this story, but I don't want you to be mistaken that all of this talk is a positive for the WNBA, because it's not, but not for the reason that we should be focusing on the players and focus on the court and take the focus away from all of this other stuff. That's not the reason why this story doesn't work for the WNBA. The reason is the WNBA is not in position to make this story work. They're going to keep going. They're so pot committed, it's hard to imagine. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, I've got a great show to review for you. And then I want to talk to you about what I did yesterday because I'm coming off very little sleep as usual. I think I finally was able to fall asleep at like 5:20 until 5:45. Not my perfect night. But I want to talk to you about what happened to me yesterday. We'll do it after the break. Welcome back to Nothing Personal. I am David Samson, your host. Very excited about the future. Very excited to come to you every single day, 8 a.m. live. Excited that you're watching us on the DraftKings Network. Please find the DraftKings Network. You can do it. You can watch us at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, I think even 2 o'clock. We'll see what happens with that. Thank you for downloading, sharing our show with your friends. You can tell your friends that I watch a movie every day or a TV show. I want to talk about Saturday Night Live for a moment. If you are conservative, don't turn it off. This is not going to be political at all. I promise. I want to talk about the 50th episode because I watched a 4-episode documentary called SNL 50 Beyond Saturday Night. This past Saturday, Saturday Night Live ended its 50th season. Scarlett Johansson broke a record. She hosted for the 7th time. There is no woman who has hosted that many times. The episode itself was interesting because Saturday Night Live may be undergoing some changes next season. Cast members coming and going. The possibility of Lorne Michaels leaving. Some of you may not know this, but I played Lorne Michaels in a play. It was a play in Miami probably 10 years ago. It was called Not Ready for Prime Time, about the beginning of Saturday Night Live, the first season. For some reason, they thought the president of the Marlins could play Lorne Michaels. I love doing it. Lorne Michaels has been doing this since the beginning. He took a little break in between. The question is it time for him to walk away? And what SNL did to celebrate the 50th was to release all these documentaries, all these behind-the-scenes things showing how episodes are made. There was a movie that was released, a scripted movie about the 90 minutes prior to the first ever episode of Saturday Night Live and how insane that was. I believe it was called Beyond Saturday Night or just Saturday Night, and I believe I reviewed it, and you can find that on davidsamsonpodcast.com. You can search the document to see when I reviewed it. What I loved about this documentary is the number of cast members Lorne Michaels has discovered. The tragedy that has happened around some of the cast members, from Phil Hartman to Chris Farley to John Belushi. The reality that finding talent in comedy is the same as finding talent in baseball. I have such respect for what Lorne Michaels was able to do. The projection, that's all he did. He would see people and he would be able to project them as stars. Adam Sandler, Chris Rock, the list goes on and on. It's better than Second City TV, but man, that's another great melting pot of amazing comedic talent. If you don't like Saturday Night Live because you feel it's too liberal, the reason why I'd like you to watch the documentary is because the politics of Saturday Night Live are not relevant in this documentary. It's about process. And if you are dug in about your beliefs, which this day and age we're all dug in on one side or the other, our ears are closed, our mouths are open. This documentary allows you to actually open your ears and close your mouth, which is something that we all should be doing way more of. Check it out, SNL 50 Beyond Saturday Night. So 24 hours ago, you may have noticed if you watch this on the YouTube channel that I was not where I am now. I was at a hotel in New Haven because, of course, we're going to do a show. Sorry about the internet service, though it got fixed. by Coca, who's some sort of weird producing genius, by the way, where a show can be bad and he can make it good. I asked him, can he make me young and good looking? He said, no, there's nothing I can do about that. I was in New Haven for my son's graduation from college. It was a 3-day event, 2 days of ceremonies, 1 day of prep and family meals. Multiple ceremonies. I got a chance. I ran into the owner of the Cardinals, who had a grandchild graduating as well. It was good to see him. Hadn't seen Bill DeWitt in a long, long time. We used to be partners at Jupiter with spring training. We were partners in baseball for almost 2 decades. Do you in St. Louis think I'm not nice to the Cardinals, by the way? I love St. Louis. I love the Cardinals. I'm going to tell you what was in my head during graduation. I've had 3 kids, still have 3 kids, 3 college graduations. The first one 8 years ago, the second one 5 years ago, and the last one yesterday. It's a moment that's supposed to be filled with pride. It's supposed to be filled with all of your feelings of accomplishment for your children. I found myself feeling sad and empty. This is not about me being wired differently or being robotic, actually. It's about my issue with the passage of time. I didn't feel this when the first 2 kids graduated college. I felt it very much so yesterday, watching him get his diploma and thinking that his life was in front of him. Not that you need a college degree to have a life or have a productive life or be a good person. You don't. I wasn't thinking about the politics of the university. I wasn't thinking about my own politics. I wasn't thinking about all of the behavior that's taken place on campus. I wasn't thinking about any of that, actually. I was thinking about what it was like when I graduated college. I went to the University of Wisconsin. I graduated in 1990, had our graduation at Camp Randall Stadium. And what I was thinking while watching my son receive his diploma, while trying to get video of it and not being in the moment because I wanted to get video of the moment he got his diploma, like some sort of crazy parent running over movie directors and heads of states' children. I'm trying to get video of this moment, and I ended up not watching it, only through the small iPhone screen. Ridiculous. But I remember what was in my head is I don't remember my own graduation. I don't remember what I felt about the accomplishment. What I remember is the fear of the uncertainty of what was my life going to be, the fear of the uncertainty of how do I possibly live up to what was presented to me by my parents, what I was supposed to do, how I was supposed to act, what I was supposed to do for a living, the values, the morals off the field and on the field. I had fear, not excitement. And what I felt yesterday was the same fear. The fear that I felt is too much pressure on children these days? Or is it the same pressure that we had all those 35 years ago? Is the world different because we're told it is every day? We're told that climate change, the environment, we're told the hatred, the racism, we're told that everything because of social media is on steroids, players included. We're told that this is the critical moment. And then I realized that every graduation speaker for 35 years says the same thing. This is your moment now. Take this moment and make it different than the moments that have led up to this. Take control of your destiny and make the collective world a better place by your collective actions. All of the graduation speakers, me included when I did it, was to somehow have a message in there that would not be lost on 22-year-olds who are guided by fear and acne and social anxiety. Try to say that you are the cream of the crop and it's your responsibility to effectuate change. Meanwhile, more change has been effectuated by non-college graduates than college graduates, but I digress. And all I wanted to do was grab my son and say, it's okay. Because I wasn't grabbed in 1990. I had no idea what my life was going to be. And I'm the personality that wanted to know every step, every move. And it was soon after college that I realized that I didn't know anything. My journey was going to be full of stops and starts, full of failures and successes, full of moments that I couldn't have predicted nor planned for, full of feelings that I couldn't express, full of thoughts that I couldn't manifest into reality, into action. And the kids are the same today as they were in my day. The stakes aren't higher. The responsibility isn't greater. The moment isn't more monumental. The moments that we all have, whether you're a gushing parent when a child graduates, gets married, does something good, you live through your children, you're happy, you're excited, you're a helicopter parent, you're a disengaged parent, whether there's social media now or the invention of the wheel hundreds of years ago, or the computer or the airplane or whatever, everybody during the course of their life sees change. Everyone believes that their moment is the moment that matters the most because the current moment does. I tried to lower the pressure yesterday, by being on my best behavior while being totally crazy. But I said to my son something that I would tell you, I don't know that he will be able to listen or care to understand because I'm a parent. I just said, you're good. Don't we all want to hear that? I'm so bad at picking games. I would like someone just to say, you're good. One time, Coca's on me so badly. Who would expect the Orioles to never win a game? How does that work, Coca, exactly? The Orioles lost to the Brewers again, 5-4. We're 59-65. Has the new interim manager won a game yet? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say the interim manager of the Orioles is 0-3, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I'm further going to say the Orioles may have the worst record in the American League. Of course, I could look to prove it. I'm further going to say that firing the manager did not have the immediate impact that Mr. Rubenstein expected it to have. Tonight, the NBA Conference Finals begin. Who's not excited for the Thunder against the T-Wolves? Yeah, there's small markets, but it doesn't matter. You've got stories of Anthony Edwards, SGA. You've got two franchises who have, in theory, never won a championship, horse hockey. The Thunder won it in 1979. You have an opportunity to have a young player become the true face of the NBA. The days of LeBron running this league are done. The Lakers are an afterthought. You want to see two quality teams, you start watching the game tonight. The question is, can anyone beat the Thunder, who won 68 games this year? They won a record 50-plus games by double digits. They are unbeatable. But the Nuggets took them to 7 games. Yeah, that's true. But guess what the T-Wolves don't have? They don't have Jokic. Now, Anthony Edwards, he's good. Jokic, better. Wait to see when I tell you something's going to happen. If it does, great. If it doesn't, fine. We'll revisit it after the series. The Thunder are going to the finals. That's an official wait to see, Coca. This game 1 is an important game for the Thunder. I would expect after their crushing 125-93 of the Nuggets in game 7 on Sunday, people would say, oh, this is the opportunity. This is what we would say as a road team. Oh, let's go steal one right now. It's going to be a letdown. No, it won't. The Thunder, 7.5 over the T-Wolves in game 1. No letdown at all. The second series that starts tonight, another 2-screen night, though the NBA starts at 8:30 Eastern, NHL starts at 8. We've got the Hurricanes. The irony, of course, the Carolina Hurricanes. Yes, there are Hurricanes that go to Carolina, though they're associated more with Florida, I would argue, I think. The Carolina Hurricanes against the Florida Panthers. Well, I guess some people associate Panthers with Florida. I would think it would be the Florida Hurricanes. Maybe that's too close to home. The Panthers are plus money in game 1. They're coming off a crushing of the Toronto Maple Leafs, 6-1 in game 7. The Panthers will not have a letdown, and this may be the only time you can get the Panthers plus money, while the Hurricanes actually are a really good team. Often people have them favored. I actually don't know the series line here, Coca. I would assume the Panthers should be favored. Panthers plus 105 over the Hurricanes. That is the second pick of the day. Owners meetings start today in the NFL. Are you ready? We covered this the last owners meeting. The banning of the tush push. It's like the lead story everywhere. Will the NFL players be allowed to participate in Olympic flag football? Will there be reseeded in the playoffs? The NFL is amazing. They get PR for issues that are being discussed before they're discussed. It's just another example of how great the NFL is. Let me just tell you about NFL players playing in the Olympics flag football. I don't care how many players say they want to do it. I am out. There's a bunch of players who are coming out and saying they want to do it. Aaron Jones of the Vikings. I'm in. I would love it. Everybody's saying it's great. Represent your country. Play it. Out. It's not even the Cold War. I am not risking player injury. I have no interest in hamstring pulls. I have no interest in any of it. Coca is absolutely accusing me with this position of being a hypocrite because I want players all playing in the World Baseball Classic. Coca, I was part of the formation of the World Baseball Classic. I wasn't part of the formation of the Olympics. A vested interest in the success of the World Baseball Classic because the Olympics shut out baseball. It's back, but they removed it. You think I have any love for the Olympics? Do your homework, everybody. Every opinion you hear has an edge, has a slant, has an agenda. Of course, we all say we are neutral. We're down the middle. We have no agendas. Of course we do. I'm sorry. Are we the only ones because we have microphones and a platform? You don't have agendas with everything you say or do? Don't be ridiculous. I'd be insulted if you didn't have an agenda. The NFL and Roger Goodell are out canvassing votes now. Did you see what the Packers did? They changed the language for the tush push ban. And we have a wait to see that the tush push will be banned. The Packers changed the language, saying no tush pushes, forget at the goal line, no tush pushes anywhere on the field. Hell yeah. It's going to pass, folks. A few months ago, it was 16-16. You need 24 to block, Paul Lind, and they're going to get 8 extra votes. There's going to be a big announcement of how great it is that the tush push is being banned. There's going to be a great announcement. Look at us, Washington, D.C. You love the Olympics. We love the Olympics. You love patriotism. We love patriotism. We are going to allow players to play during the Summer Olympics flag football. Wink, wink. Do you know what the owners are voting on right now as it relates to flag football? That they're allowed to, not that they will. Because no player can play in the Olympics without the permission of the team. Now, they were covered up by the NFL when there was no player participation in the Olympics. But now, what the owners get to do is have their cake and eat it too. They get to say to Washington, D.C., we got you, Donnie. We got you, Mr. President. We love it. We're in. We want our best people there. We want gold medals. But then privately, they get to say, I don't think so. I really have no great interest in that. It's going to happen despite Tyreek Hill saying that for years he's wanted to put together a dream team of NFL talent to be in the Olympics. It's flag football. And by the way, it's certainly not going to be tackle football because everyone acknowledges that's way too dangerous. I don't want any part of that. The seeding thing I really hope does change. Reseeding in the second round, it's become a far bigger deal than it should be. The positives of reseeding is that you actually benefit teams that have a better record. Yes, there's strength of schedule issues. Yes, you want to make the regular season matter more by having teams want to win the division. That's true in every other sport but football. when there's only 16, 17, or 18 games in a season, or 19 games, however many. Every game counts in a way that does not count in the other sports. You don't need artificial ways of making the regular season matter in the NFL. The reason why you reward teams in baseball and basketball is to make the regular season matter to players. But in the NFL, forget it. Do the seeding according to the record. And then look at your fans and say, you're going to get an extra home game because it's just business. We'll be back tomorrow. This is nothing personal.